Emma, you're back with us today. How good is this?
Back again. You can't get rid of
No,
me.
we can't.
Love talking.
Well, the last episode I think had so much impact that we had to get you back.
Well, that's good because impact's one of my key words.
Oh, there
So
you go. I must have read it in your bio.
maybe.
So today we are not talking bios. Today we are talking why is it worth working on your personal brand? And I think this is something that I know you're incredibly passionate about, and I love your stance on this. And I think it's so important to continue talking about personal brand because it is a bit of a zeitgeist at the moment, I guess you'd say. Everyone's talking about it, but no one probably really knows how to really, what
Do
is
it.
personal brand? So
Yeah.
talk to us about it.
So your personal brand is you. All right, that's it. We're done. We can stop recording.
What do you want to talk about other than that?
Yeah, we got so much to say. No, honestly, I think people build it up and it's one of those things like it does become one of those water cooler buzzwords. But personal brand is essentially who you are. It's your personality, it's your reputation, it's your experience, your skills, it's all of those things coming together and how you present to the world. And it's that experience and impression that people get of you. So, we know big personal brands like we'd say Oprah, Richard Branson. So Richard Branson is one of my favorite examples. There are personalities that you just know, and it's more than their personality. It has become their brand. Like people want that. Like if your name is being dropped, oh, that's so Beyonce, or that's so Oprah. Well, then that is a strong brand. And when you say that person's name, you instantly get a picture and an image of them. That's what we want. We want to have that consistent experience of you. And as you know, with a business brand, and when we're talking marketing, a brand is a promise. A brand creates trust. When you build this brand, you know what you're going to get. And when you don't get it, you're like, well, that's not on brand. That's when people say on brand. It's like, that's not on brand. Or that's so on brand because you're like, that just feels like them.
Yeah.
So as a person, we can have that too. All of those exercises and that's where I came from. I did PR, excuse me, a bit stuffed up at the moment. I did PR and marketing and social media and copywriting. And sometimes I'd go into a client in the business and they'd be working on something. And I'd say, well, where's the key messages? Like, what are we trying to say about this thing? And they hadn't done that piece of work. They were just going out and talking about things with no centralized information about what this thing was, what was the brand, what were we trying to say. And so I would help them to create this key messaging guide so that everybody was consistent and that we could always talk about this event or activity or product or service in the same way.
Yeah, I love that.
So a person can also have a key messaging guide where you have all of this information, your mission, your values, your vision, your tagline, if you want a one sentence about you, the way to describe you, the 3 words that would describe you if nobody knew you, all of that is in one place. So if somebody came to work with you and needed to write about you or talk about you, or you needed to talk about you, you're always going to be consistent. And so that's what I do. And one other thing is, like with personal brand, just as a visualizing, if everyone can visualize a Venn diagram, there's 2 elements to your personal brand. It's how others see you, and it's how you see yourself.
Yeah.
And so often, I think the piece that I'm working with people on, the clients come to me, is others are seeing them as this expert and seeing their experience and seeing what they're doing, but they don't see it themselves. Getting my clients to say, I am intelligent, I am knowledgeable, I am an expert, I am, all the lovely things that other people could say about them, they need to say them about themselves and believe it, because then they're going to project it. And so often we're just letting everyone else tell the story about us and all the things that are out there. Oh, people will know, people will find me. I don't need to tell them, they'll know. No, they won't. You get to be in control of the story.
Yeah.
You get to decide what is said about you and how that comes across. And the more you say it and the more you show up as it, the more consistent you are. That's what people will experience.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And it is so important that we tell the story of who we are, but we've been conditioned not to do that. I don't know, especially as women, I think that we get this like tall poppy, like don't tell people you're an expert. Whereas I will say I've broken out of that myself in the last 2 years, because in my corporate career, I was always like, even though I'd get headhunted constantly, I still had this like limiting belief about myself and my abilities and how intelligent I was. And even someone said to me the other day, and they were like, oh, because I said, I'm tireder. And they were like, that's not a word. And I was like, true. And they're like, but your English is always so good. I was like, interesting. I've never had anyone say that to me.
Yeah.
And it's funny though, because you do create this brand that other people see, and then we forget that part about who we want to present as. And I think we do it subconsciously. Like I know, for example, clothing. My friends could pick out a dress and say that's a Beck dress.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't even realize I did stuff like that. Like I didn't
But
even
you have
realize.
a style. Yeah.
And I've got I know my style so well. And when people try to move me outside of it, I'm like, no.
And it comes that's such a great point, because sometimes when people think about personal brand, they are thinking about those very visual elements which contribute to it. Right behind me is a giant banner, which people can't see, but it's got my colors, it's got my logo. But all of those things came after I decided, what the business was, who I was talking to, what my message was going to be. Then I went to the graphic designer and got those things made. I didn't work with the graphic designer to figure that out. And we were just saying before, people would come to me as a personal branding specialist, as a coach, before you go out to the graphic designer, the photographer, the marketer like yourself, a website developer, because though those people can help you with that, the process is going to be a hell of a lot longer and a hell of a lot more expensive and a lot more overwhelming if you don't even know what you want to say to the world about who you are.
And to be honest, you're going to frustrate a lot of people.
Yeah, you're going to piss a lot of people off. So my designs and I did do a visual rebrand. We can't rebrand ourselves because we are who we are, but we can change elements of how that presents. So in terms of my business, I did do that, but we did one round of changes, because when she presented to me what my logo and my colors and everything looked like, it was right, because I had given her a very clear brief and she knew who I was. She already knew who I was. And I was very clear about who I was. So doing all that prep work, and it can be big work. The questions I'm asking people are big questions that they might not have ever been asked of themselves. What is your mission? What are your values? What do you want to be doing in 5 years? What is your absolute ideal life? Because personal brand is not just about your work. It's about what you want to attract in your life as well as in your work. And the clearer you are about that, which doesn't come overnight, this does take time. That's why I run a 12-month program, because it takes time to build that confidence, to feel comfortable with those things, to massage it out. If I look at my messaging from 3 years ago, it's changed because I was still figuring some stuff out too. And it gets clearer and clearer. And I know it's getting clearer and clearer because I'm putting up something and I'm having a conversation the next day. Or people are coming to me and saying, oh, I really heard what you said. Or, oh, I knew it was you because of all these pieces.
Fantastic. I always know when it's you. And I think the changing thing is so true. Like who I went into business as compared to who I am now. People that knew me back in 2020 when I started, or even when I was 6 months in, they're like, you're not even close to the same person that you are today. And it's true, because back then I was, who the hell am I to be doing this? I don't know. Like I've never run a business, but I was determined to learn all of the things I needed to learn. I knew that I had the experience of the marketing behind me. I'd done so well in my corporate career, but stepping into a business is very different. And I think over that time, I just decided who I was going to be and who I was going to be.
And Beck, so what you're just saying about that, I would say you were actually in a process of rediscovering who you were as well, because after, and you've been pretty open about this, like going through a relationship change, going through a job change, going through a pandemic, your life is changing in a massive way. And you had probably had over the years been told who you were by work. 100%. Yeah. You've been told by who you were by relationship. I know you've been told by who you were by the friendships you had around you. And so it's a process of getting back to who am I fundamentally, and who do I want to be, and how do I want to choose to show up? Yeah. And so that is quite deep work that I do with my clients. Yeah. And I love that journey. And that's when they come to me. My clients come to me when they're in that time of transformation. Something's happened that has gone, and they've got something needs to change. Yeah. Or I'm not happy with the trajectory I'm on, or I'm really feeling lost. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I don't even know. You asked me the question, who are you? I cannot answer that question.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let me help you. Let's clear it up. Let's get back to who you are. Let's look at the past, because that does actually, let's look at your experiences. Let's find those times where you were the expert and let's showcase those. I think people forget a lot to look at things that in the past have all contributed to who we are today.
Yeah, totally.
And so don't disregard them. And if you're talking about posting content, we can go, last year I did this, or 10 years ago, oh my gosh, this is what I was doing, and that was amazing. And
it all contributes to your expertise and who you are. And I think no one shouldn't have a personal brand. Like, no, there's no one out there. Like, I don't care if you're in corporate, you're an entrepreneur. I don't care if you're in a corporate role and you're like, oh, my personal brand doesn't matter because my brand is the company's. That's not true.
You need it more so. Because especially, there are women I work with who often probably leaving corporate generally, or already run their own businesses. But I also have worked with women who are, and I would love to work with more women who are in companies, who are working within an organization, and they're getting lost within the organization. And they can talk about the business, they can talk about what they do, but if you ask them about who they are personally, they can't talk about it. And that,
they feel like they can't even show up to work who they are.
No, because that gets drummed out of you. But that style has gone. Culture and the people and the connection in a workplace is so important. And if you want to, become a manager, become a leader, become a CEO, be higher up in that organization, the people who are talking about themselves, the people who are showing up at networking events, the people who are meeting others, they're the one, and being who they are, they're going to be the ones who get put forward.
Yeah, because they're also, they know their experience and they're willing to back themselves too, right?
Yeah. And so there is definitely a place for that. And yes, I'm sorry, whether you like it or not, everybody has a personal brand. You're just probably not in control of it. And it's a really nice exercise. I'll give everyone this exercise. I always give it. It's if you're not sure how to talk about yourself, start with this. Go to 5 friends, 5 family members, 5 colleagues, ask them for 3 words about you. Get those 3 words, and before you get them back, write 3 words about yourself. And do not write these words as I'm tired, I'm loud, I'm this. They are how you feel maybe, or what you're thinking about yourself. Let's not, we want the 3 words that you aspire to be. Yeah, or the best words that you could be. And then what we're looking for is the alignment. So when those people come back with all those words, and generally they are lovely words, often this exercise makes people cry in a good way. Put those words together and then find the 3 best words. Play in the dictionary, play in the thesaurus, find 3 words, and then they're your words, and they are aspirational, and they're the words that you always want to be and you want to be known as.
Yeah.
So
I did that exercise and it was really interesting that everyone came back with words that I had chosen.
Yes, that's alignment.
Exactly. I was like, yes, I've been doing the work. I mean, one of them was bullet a gate.
Okay.
And
I see it.
I was like, all right, we'll put that down as ambitious, right?
Or determined. Yeah. Let's choose a positive word. Determined.
Oh God, it was
driven.
So funny. But we could talk all day on this, but we can't.
We can't.
Because, we do promise short episodes. But I have thoroughly enjoyed having you on again. I think this is so important, even just to get the thoughts started for people, regardless of where you're at in your career or your business or whatever it is, to get these thoughts going on this important topic, because personal brand matters. And I think that exercise is really fun. And I think everyone listening has to go do that and then tell us how you go. Reach out to Emma.
Please tag me at Lovelly Comms on Instagram. Please tell me how you go with it. And I think it's just, it's that starting with that self-reflection. And, I don't want you to go into an existential crisis of who am I? But just start to think about it and think, what are people seeing me? And I do have a free brand audit checklist that I can send you back to put in the show notes.
Put that in the show notes. Yeah. Love that.
That people can just go and have a look at what your digital footprint is currently saying about you. And then that 3 words exercise is going to tell you what people in your real life, in the real world, are saying about you. And you can go, okay, well, just acknowledge it. All right, that's where it's at. I have the power to change it. What am I going to do to improve this or to make it feel more like me?
Yeah. Love that. Thank you so much, Emma. I think that has just been so helpful, and I'm sure you'll be back again.
I'll see you soon. I will talk to you soon.
See ya.
Bye.